Today's episode of Nerd Soup is brought to you by NordVPN. And right now, if you click the link in our description box below, you will get a 2-year plan at a huge discount, plus 1 additional month for free. NordVPN is a great service for those looking to stay safe on the internet. Instead of signing into public networks, where information like your IP address, private passwords, and banking information is all vulnerable, Nord's private servers keep your data safe behind a wall of next-generation encryption. Surf the web with the peace of mind that your IP address is hidden, as well as your sensitive information. Everything is secured with Nord. But it's just not about security with NordVPN, seeing as they have thousands of servers worldwide that could give you access to content from all around the world. Say there is a show or movie only streaming overseas. With Nord, it's as simple as clicking a button. And this protection and security isn't only limited to one device. Nord lets you link up to 6 devices so that you can feel safe no matter what device you are using. And remember, if you click the link down below, you'll receive a huge discount on a 2-year plan, plus 1 additional month for free. So go ahead, secure your internet experience today with NordVPN. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Soup Podcast. I am Bo Oliver, joined here today with Aaron, and a little bit later we'll be joined by Teddy, and we are back to record our final podcast of the year 2021, a year that was somehow, I don't know, worse for me than 2020. I feel like a lot of people have been sharing that sentiment. What do you think?
Yeah, they both kind of just blend together as just like a shitstorm.
Godfather 1 and 2 of years, but both bad.
Yeah, so kind of like the...
Well, if they were movies, they'd probably be critically acclaimed. A lot of drama.
Oh, yeah,
a lot of characters.
A couple twists and turns that like I wasn't expecting, which is always good, kept me on my toes, but at the end it just got repetitive.
Very repetitive.
Seems like they ran out of ideas.
Yes. Sometimes you just gotta maybe get someone else to take the reins over or wrap it up, you know, like Seinfeld.
Now they're going to try to reboot it with 2022. I don't know how it's going to work, but we'll see. Maybe a soft reboot.
Soft reboot. And yeah, you can listen to this podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all the places for podcasts. In today's show, we won't be talking about any topics, but we will be reviewing 2 things. One of them being a show, which is Hawkeye, the latest Disney Plus MCU series, and The Matrix Resurrections. Matrix 4, continuing the Matrix franchise. Both projects have been, I would say, divisive. Matrix probably more so than Hawkeye. The discourse around Matrix has been pretty insane. Hawkeye, you know, kind of came and went.
Anyone could be divisive about
No,
Hawkeye.
It's more of a, did you like it or did you kind of not like it? No one seems to really love it. So, yeah, like I said, Teddy will be joining us for Matrix because kid's a mystery. You know, hasn't seen Hawkeye, but yeah, he's down for the Matrix review.
Did he watch Don't Look Up, too?
Dude, so funny. Nash is texting us in the group chat about Don't Look Up, and Ted, I found this to be so funny. He's like, oh, that's really weird. I watched that too. I'm like, yeah, it's weird because you finally watched a new movie that came out opening weekend. Yeah. It's not weird for any... like this really popular movie with all these movie stars? What are the chances?
I watched that Christmas Eve morning.
Is that when it dropped, Christmas Eve?
I'm not sure. I just saw it. I'm like, oh, I'll watch this at like 8 a.m. I didn't hate it as much as you did.
Maybe we'll review that too, yeah, because Teddy's seen it, obviously, very weird.
Yeah, I'll throw it out on the end.
Right, yeah, that'll be fun. All right, but yeah, let's get into Hawkeye. I was going to text Marissa, but I think she's working, so... Hawkeye's not... You can't bring in Marissa for Hawkeye.
What do you mean? She fucking loves Kate Bishop.
That is true, she does, but Marissa's like Doctor Strange, you know? He doesn't care about what WandaVision did in the TV show. You know, he's worried about the movies. Marissa's like, bring me in for the Civil Wars... The No Way Homes. She couldn't make that either. But yeah, Hawkeye.
I'm surprised she's still alive after Spider-Man. If we get Young Avengers, it might kill her.
No, yeah, without a doubt.
So, like, I don't know. Maybe she's just not a big Kate Bishop fan, after all.
I don't know why. It feels like my mic's not picking up this audio. But yeah, Hawkeye, overall thoughts. What did you think, Aaron? It's a 6-episode series, wrapped up with the finale. We got, well, spoilers, so... Please look away or close the video now if you don't want to be spoiled. We saw the return of Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, making his first return as the character, making his first appearance as the character since Daredevil Season 3, and we also wrapped up the story with Hawkeye being chased by Yelena, and also Kate Bishop and her mother. So, overall thoughts, series, finale, what are you thinking?
Thought it was pleasant. It was a nice little Christmas story. It fit the time of year. It was kind of I liked that aspect of it. It felt very like I think it hit all like the beats of like a Christmas themed show or movie. And in terms of like everything else with the characters, the introductions to Kate Bishop, I thought Haley Steinfeld as a character was a standout, and I look forward to seeing her as Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, or whatever name they ended up on at the end. It seemed like they just went Hawkeye.
Yeah,
with the title,
he's going to give her the Hawkeye name.
which, like, if I'm his daughter, kind of pissed. Called me Hawkeye in the beginning of Endgame.
He brought her over for Christmas.
Who's this? Oh, I was glad you found a new daughter, Dad.
Imagine he got her the PS5 with the disc drive and his real daughter just the digital. Oh, this one's $100 less. No, it's great. It's fine. Yeah, she was a standout for me. I mean, just going off of the positives, she was the biggest positive. She reminded me a lot of Deku from My Hero, where she has this chance to run around, be a hero with her idol, and she's a fangirl, but she can also hold her own. She knows what she's doing. She obviously has some things to learn. But just her enthusiasm for being a superhero, to me, was what was so great about that character and what I enjoyed the most. And even, Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, you're never going to convince me that this character couldn't have been casted with a more appropriate actor. And he's a good actor. He's actually been good in a lot of things. This is probably the best he's been, I think, as the character. Low to the ground, had a lot of James Bond type of vibes to him, where it was just a man who's this blunt killing machine and his past comes up to haunt him once again, his time as the Ronin. So
I liked how beat up he was.
Right, yeah.
It reminds you that he is a man fighting amongst gods, and through the years, he's just been getting his ass kicked. And
right,
it's all
we were
catching up to
wondering
him.
what that explanation would be for him going deaf after the first episode. And it was just, he doesn't even know. It could be any one of the things that he's experienced. So, yeah, definitely.
And that aspect of Kate Bishop not being like an enhanced human and things of that nature, and looking up to him and choosing him as her idol, and kind of trying to be like him ever since she was younger and saw him jumping off of a building. A man who couldn't fly, a man who couldn't do anything like Thor. And I think that's like a more relatable character in this world to like look up to or aspire to be. Whereas like for us fans watching, he's always the butt of the joke.
Right, yeah. In the real world, that's the guy. If the Avengers actually existed, that would be the guy that everyone really likes. Because how the hell can you even run around with the gods like that? That was probably my favorite scene of the show, is when they have that moment, when she tells him, aliens invaded my home, and you were what inspired me to be brave, to be strong, and to eventually want to become a hero. So I think their partnership, obviously, it's something that goes back to the comics, and the series was heavily influenced by Matt Fraction's run of the character. Some of the things some of Hawkeye's backstory in that comic has changed from the show, because he obviously has the family. But, I thought Linda Cardellini as his wife was really gangster in this, those phone calls.
She gives him a lot of leeway.
Well, I was starting to wonder, she has to be a former spy. I mean, that makes sense. That's how they would meet, right? So he gives her the watch at the end, but
like, I feel like most people
you think that she should be a little angry with him?
Can relate, like, even though he has like a valid reason trying like to save this girl and like figure out like, save the day again. I feel like most wives they would be in the doghouse for missing Christmas, keep putting it off. Oh, this came up. And it'd be like a whole thing, and be like, you said you'd be home by Christmas. Like, I'm out here saving the world. It's like, well, you promised.
Yeah,
but
maybe
she's cool.
She's a cool wife.
Yeah.
Really cool. Well, once he mentioned the watch, I think she was, oh, fuck, cover blown, So you can't really be in the doghouse when your shit's out there, too.
It's like, oh, why don't you just go save the world again? Since you love the world more than your family. Am I projecting?
What did you think about Yelena coming in after Black Widow? Obviously, they had the post-credit scene where she was given the job of hunting down Hawkeye, and we were all wondering, why the hell would she do that? Well, she's being paid by an evil rich woman, so it makes more sense.
But, like, wasn't she approached by... I guess she might be an intermediary?
Could be. Yeah. For maybe Kingpin. Yeah, she was approached by Elaine, right? From Seinfeld.
That's a very canon name in the MCU. Like,
she's got her own wiki.
Elaine from Seinfeld?
Elaine from Seinfeld.
But it's about Seinfeld. I just added the Hawkeye stuff into that.
Yeah. I often wonder about that. What exists in the MCU?
I think she was definitely like a standout from the Black Widow movie, and I enjoy Florence Pugh very much as an actress. So seeing her come into this series and have those interactions with Kate Bishop's, two of like probably the core members of the Young Avengers, if that eventually does happen, and kind of the new Black Widow and new Hawkeye having great chemistry off the bat, because they were great together in every scene they had. Even the fight scene when at the end when she's yelling at her for being so likable, and they're propping up each other for their moves they had. There's a very pleasant interaction. She's a great character. So
yeah, people are wondering, how can Kate Bishop even fight with this character? But I don't think she was trying to kill her. I think that it was, they had a big sister, little sister type of vibe. They're obviously going to cross paths again. But even that first scene that they have in Kate Bishop's apartment when she's putting the hot sauce on the macaroni and cheese that she made, I thought that interaction ran a little bit too long, but it was funny. And like you said, it's the new Black Widow. She's got big shoes to fill, not only just within the narrative of the movies, but Scarlett Johansson's a huge star.
Notoriously big feet.
Yes, yeah, no, I've seen. Has she been in a Tarantino movie?
No.
Okay, we got to get her in there. Get those puppies measured. But yeah, no, she's taking over this role, and she was badass a few times. I think Episode 3 had the best action. The car chase scene with the tracksuit mafia, who actually were fantastic in this as well. Bro.
Did you see that for them? They like at first I hated them, then I grew to like them, then I hated them again.
Yeah, they're not. It's hard to love them.
No, not just as characters. I was annoyed, then I'm like, oh, this is kind of funny. Then I'm like, nah, they're kind of annoying me again.
Yeah, but what about when they hit them with a big arrow? That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
I like the trick arrows.
I don't get the PIM technology. Because the reason why he wears the suit is so he doesn't die when he makes them small. Then they make the truck small, and the guys are okay.
Yeah, they're all squealing, right? You can hear them. Yeah, I guess because, when push comes to shove, the MCU doesn't want to be that violent. That would have been great, though, right? Just silence. Just little gobs of goop.
Yeah, like a little bugs splattered on the windshield.
Right. Or even in the Ant-Man movie when he zaps that one guy and just wipes him off with a tissue.
Yeah.
Flushes him in the fucking toilet.
I don't know. Very inconsistent.
Dark stuff. Corey Stoll, good actor. Yeah, but that sequence was my favorite. But in the finale, somebody tweeted this. Hawkeye's in the Avengers movies. He's fighting against Thanos. In this, he gets stuck in a tree. So
I mean, there was no trees in that battle.
Figure something out. You're Hawkeye. You get defeated by a tree?
He's tired.
And then the whole plan, Kate Bishop had a lot of dumb plans in this.
And Hawkeye,
she's like, hold on. I'm going to knock down the tree.
That's good. She's new to this. She's new to this.
Yeah, I guess.
And Hawkeye, you were in the fight for Thanos, but you didn't fight anybody, really.
Did he take a lick? Did he? No, he wasn't even in Infinity War.
No.
Yeah, no, he took a couple licks in Endgame. But
in Endgame, he was just running.
Yeah, no, he was
gauntlet.
but like I said, I don't know how he became so incompetent at times. I that's the superhero writing. It always happens where the characters become competent or incompetent based on what the writers want to do. Right? Yeah. But when you're gonna go street level, I wish the show was just overall grittier. I kept thinking to myself, man, a Ronin show would have been great. But, his past is Ronin. That's what brings in, the character of Maya Lopez, who wants to avenge her father, who was killed by Ronin on the orders of Wilson Fisk. If they brought back Fisk for this, what a waste.
No, there's an absolutely 0% chance that he's dead or he's not going to come back. First of all, off screen, big red flag. It's and you just don't bring him back for what? Because he
had to get shot in the face by Maya.
Because Kingpin he could have been replaced by any boss.
Yeah, he could have just been mob boss guy.
Exactly. So, you bring him back for a reason, and I think that, that was just a nice little introduction. These characters are back. We saw Daredevil and Spider-Man, so we'll see him again.
I thought his scene with Eleanor Bishop was great. He was very intimidating. The music, the way he was speaking, you could tell that he tweaked it a bit. It's still the Netflix character, but it looks like they gave him superpowers. Because he rips off that door. And that's more in line with the comics where he's not superhuman, but he's got way more strength than the average guy,
Right.
So he can fight Spider-Man, he can fight against Daredevil where it's not such of a... I mean, even in the Netflix show, it took a lot out of Daredevil to defeat him. Mm-hmm. But that Kate Bishop fight with Kingpin was just goofy. Even the character, it's like the character changed. Eventually, you take 3 hits from this girl, you're going to just snap her neck. You're Kingpin.
Yeah.
You kept brushing her off, and then she's like... It was so goofy to me. So for them to tease him the whole time, and I think that these Disney Plus shows have a problem with this, where it's more about teasing of what's to come, and then when it happens, it's kind of lackluster. Mm-hmm. And there's no rewatch ability with these series because so much of it is what's going to happen on the next episode. Are they going to reveal this one? Are they going to reveal that one? Who's going to guest star? And I think the narrative almost suffers when you build up too much to these reveals.
Yeah, and I think thematically it was very tame. Obviously, if you can compare it to something like a WandaVision, it's not even on that level. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be. It could just be a fun, cute Christmas story. And that's what I think it was. But, it was nothing more than more than that. And I don't think like it's fair going in to expect something crazy, but I just wanted to be entertained for 6 episodes, and I think it did that. And you got some more insight on Hawkeye and all of that, but it very much is just setting up a lot of future things. But kind of also wrapping up the Hawkeye story, and if it is, it's kind of a anticlimactic way.
Yeah, I mean, there was talks for a long time about giving him maybe a prequel movie or giving him a normal movie. So if this is the end of this character, where the next time we see him is his on-screen death or the official passing of the torch, or he's retired and maybe he comes back in like 5 to 10 years. I've never loved the character, so I'm not so torn up about it. It's like, oh, Hawkeye didn't get his great finale. So at the end of the day, I think Kate Bishop has way more potential than Clint Barton ever had. And projects like the Young Avengers have been highly anticipated by fans. I would love to see her in a normal Avengers movie taking on that role. I think Haley Steinfeld's a movie star, so I think that she could definitely help carry the MCU as they go into Phase 4 and Phase 5. I think they're going to put her more in the spotlight.
Definitely. I mean, her performance in True Grit is better than like most actors in their entire career. So and obviously she just transcended into like a star from singing and other aspects of like fame. So
the mom being evil was so telegraphed.
Very, very familiar. Farmiga, like.
Didn't it feel like she wasn't trying?
She phoned, like, especially at the end when she's like,
when she's giving her the speech.
She's like, oh, is that a great Christmas present? Arresting your mother? She said it like just how I said it.
Yeah. No, I
like, that's an emotional. You hit that. You got to hit. That's the scene.
But they liked each other, Kate Bishop and her mother, right?
Sure.
They were supposed to be like, okay, maybe there are some differences, some past issues that they have. But I thought the way that she was playing it, that they were going to portray her as just way colder than she actually ended up being. And it was just more so, I think the actress phoning it in a bit.
That's the way the world works.
So I can't say I was disappointed. Maybe I'm more just disappointed in the character overall. I'm not going to blame the actor because I think the writing wasn't really doing her any favors. But then you look at Tony Dalton as Jack. That's a guy who doesn't phone it in.
My favorite character in the fucking show.
It's so funny, dude, because he plays a character in Better Call Saul who's just like this, except he's also part of the Mexican cartel. Mm-hmm. So he's having the best time of his life in Better Call Saul as well. Same exact demeanor that he's got as Jack in this. And at times, because I think it was because of him being in Better Call Saul, it's like, this guy's up to no good. Can't trust this motherfucker.
But he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. Yeah, he was being an asshole. He's a shady guy. But he, he helps at the end.
He should be in the Young Avengers.
Just normal Avengers, dude. Who's going to fucking lead after Iron Man? Who's the next Iron Man? It's Jack. Was he just killing those guys, too, with the sword? And looked like he was murdering.
I think a lot of people,
got murdered in this show.
But not murdered. Because I think they're trying to make it a point for her to have Kate not kill anybody. But she very much looked like she did kill a bunch of people.
Right. Yeah, especially with the arrows.
Arrows are no joke.
That's a weapon for killing.
Yeah.
Changed warfare. And we have Teddy here to actually talk about that. Our warologist. Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other characters or any other big things that we're missing. I mean,
the LARPers.
What'd you say?
The LARPers.
What were the LARPers again?
The people who LARPed.
Oh, those were the knights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know what LARPing is.
They were going off at the end, but that was also
it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. And I don't mind fun and ridiculous, but it felt like a CW show. And I think that's the worst thing that you could say about superhero shows. I think this more so than any of the other Disney Plus Marvel shows. Well, there's some good, obviously, like I said, but I don't know.
I did like
I can't stand the setup.
What's the bad lady's name?
Maya.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I thought she was good, and what her story and that character. I like the flashback scenes and everything like that, but I never really felt like she was fully fleshed out. And I don't know, maybe just having so many different characters and especially her relationship with that guy.
Yeah, you know what really would have helped
this show, man? I don't even remember his name. I don't remember anyone's names.
If they were just all really, really better fighters. I think the choreography was good, but I wanted Street Fighter type shit, you know? Like, this man has to make up for his past as the Ronin is coming back to haunt him. You know, the Ronin, that's obviously referencing, you know, Japanese movies and the Ronin samurai, so let's see some samurai-esque type of action here. You know, who are the enemies that he made, and let's make those enemies a bit more formidable. I mean, Maya was nothing special as a villain, but solid.
Solid.
The whole show was just very, very solid, and eventually that just pisses me off.
Yeah, be great or
Take
be
some
a train
chances.
wreck.
Yeah, exactly, right.
You see a movie that's just fine. What do you say about it? It's fine.
Yeah, they're the worst movies to review. Like this, I'm not having a good time with this review. Not having a good time.
Yeah.
You want to end this?
I want to go home.
Okay.
Is Teddy here yet?
Yeah, I think he actually just got here.
Teddy, be honest. What pill are you taking?
Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
I don't need this in my life. It's too much stress, man.
Pig and shit, yeah.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's tough. I think it is, like, if you can live in a simulation, like, even like the guy in the first movie who's like, all right, you just forget everything and I just want to be rich and successful and just put me back in the simulation.
Yeah, Richie from Sopranos, right?
Yeah.
Of course Richie wanted to be back in that simulation.
Could you imagine taking a red pill, waking up in the pod, and then looking at what you're living in?
No, it's definitely not for the weak-minded.
Where's the bathroom?
Well, that's, I mean, just, I guess...
It's the least of, like, Neo's fucking worries when he wakes up.
I think that they kind of expanded on the idea of the red pill and the blue pill in this, the idea of freeing your mind, because even, you know, just to skip way ahead, when they're like, how is Trinity reading? And they're like, she's all blue pill. Let's not pull her out. She obviously wants to stay in here. And Neo's like, how did I read? And they're like, blue pill as well.
So what does that mean, that they took the blue pill?
No, I think it's more like their readings are that they're happy where they are, but deep down, it's the thing that they actually want is to be themselves, and they
Neo
can't.
is fucking
that's
miserable.
Neo. Yeah, 100%. Then yeah, that means Neo would
Right.
be
Well,
dead.
that's why his subconscious was able to create that modal, and that's what helps him escape. So it's subconscious, even though it's not. He doesn't know what the Matrix actually is. So even though he's trying to kill himself, that doesn't work because the Matrix won't let him kill himself. So I thought, you know, tackling it from that perspective as well as a depressed person, you know?
Yeah.
The idea of not having a choice when people always say, oh, why did he do that? You know, why did he kill himself? It's like, well, in those moments, sometimes you feel like you don't have a choice.
Well, the scene where he did want to kill himself, he wasn't trying to kill himself. He was just trying to, like, live out what he knows. But it wasn't. Yeah, it was like he wasn't in the Matrix anymore.
Right.
I don't know.
And society's making him feel like he's, like, insane.
All I know is I would take the red pill, but once I got like that slop to eat, I'd be like, "This is fucking take me back."
Oh, that's what I'm saying, man.
I'd be so curious. I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on. And then I wake up and
100%.
like we're in this like fucking post-apocalyptic world eating sludge. You'd be like, ooh,
machines running the world. What did I do?
Might have made a mistake.
Yeah, and at least if you were woken up in this movie, you get strawberries. So
right.
Yep.
I think I could. You bring me to fucking Zion? No, siree.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they definitely got some upgrades in IO.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like, just talk about the movie real quick. I guess we can formally start the review after this, but like, it was kind of like meta that they had. Like, I think as meta as everything else was, but having Zion be their place to live and it being gone, unavailable, very reminiscent of the real world.
Right, a lot of potential, but you have to be present. You know, the best ability is availability.
So,
I like that.
Yeah. Nice little NBA reference.
Lana thinks she could have got that by us. We know she's a big NBA fan.
So the Matrix Resurrections, let's get right into this. Like we mentioned, the fourth installment in the Matrix franchise. It's been 18 years since the Matrix
fifth.
Revolutions. Yeah, technically the fifth. Animatrix, right?
Yeah, I just saw that.
No, the video
I didn't
game.
watch it. I just saw that they did that.
I thought there was also another animated movie that was part of the Matrix lore. But yeah, the Matrix Resurrections, it's not doing that well at the box office, but that's a conversation for another day. With fans, fans have been divided.
Hand
Critics
up.
are a bit divided.
I watched it on HBO Max.
So did I.
Yeah, that makes three of us. The Holy Trinity.
Are we helping or not? I don't know.
We're helping.
Hey, man, they gave us the option. It's
Yeah,
their
exactly.
fucking
That's
fault.
the thing. Yeah, it's their fault. They should have put this in the theaters.
I think more movies need to come out on streaming, actually, when you look at the state of the world. But once again, that's a topic for another day. What did you guys think about this one? Overall thoughts, the positives, the negatives, things that you like, things that you didn't. That's what we do here.
I feel like a lot more. It was a watchable movie, but it wasn't like it was nothing like the first one, which I know 2 and 3 were nothing like the first one, but it just feels like this one is trying to. I just felt like
First half of the movie was exactly like the first one.
Well, I know, but that is why I liked it, but the first half was what captivated me the most. And then after Neo wakes up pretty much, I kind of lost steam for me. But it just feels like every movie, they're trying to answer what the Matrix is. Or I feel like they answer it in the movie, and then the next movie they bring up what the Matrix is again. And they're trying to do that formula nonstop.
You thought that was the Matrix?
Exactly.
Nope.
They keep trying to restart the movie, and I think Keanu Reeves got gypped. I didn't really like his action in it. I think they gave all like the top performances to, well, not the top performances, but they focused more on the side characters. When I don't know why they even bring back Neo if they're gonna do that to him.
Hashtag not your Neo.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag for me. I think, like, it's tough because I really do like some aspects of it, but there was a point where I kind of just gave up trying to follow everything that was going on. And not that, like, it was super confusing, but, like, I was just getting thrown, like, so much was thrown at me that I was just, like, not really, like, in the mindset to be like, okay, I'm going to try to, like, actively watch this movie.
If you think about it,
then when they
like
get to like
plots
the final plan and they're throwing all this stuff at you and we got to do the bait and switch and the thing, I'm like, I'm lost here. I'm just gonna like watch for the rest of the movie and just see what happens. And for the most part, like, I think some of the things I don't like, or some aspects of it I do like, but I do think it's a bit of a mess at times. And it left me like, I don't know. It left me in a weird spot where it's like, I didn't particularly love it, but like it left me like wanting more because I do like this world. Because looking back and rewatching the first three, even though like the second and third aren't as critically acclaimed by critics and not really as beloved by fans as the first one, which I think is like a science fiction masterpiece in a lot of ways, I still enjoy that world and a lot of the questions they bring up and what it makes you think about and things like that. And I think that's all very well done until they keep hammering it over your head time and time again. So I don't know. I'm interested to hear your thoughts because you've seen this movie more than any movie I think you've seen this year.
I think I've seen Dune 5 times. I've seen this 4 times. Yeah, this is a movie this is everything I wanted out of this movie. Yeah, it definitely does. I've just been throwing it on. You know, going into it, I think the marketing was so well done. You watch the trailer, you have no idea what's going on. For the first hour, I felt like I was being gaslit, where I really bought into the whole idea of Neo being a game creator that just created the Matrix, and it was all this fantasy, and then they pull him out of this new Matrix and show him that it's been 60 years, we're still fighting this fight, there are people trapped in this new Matrix, and his only concern is saving the woman he loves. So for them to do a legacy sequel, and it's not about the world is ending, we need to bring back our hero. It's our hero is out there, he's being manipulated once again. We need to save him this time. And then he needs to believe in Trinity the way that Trinity believed in him in the original movie. So for it to be so personal, where the stakes were very personal, that's something I enjoyed. I don't need the world falling down or the world falling apart. So you said Neo got gypped. I disagree with that. I think he was nearly in every scene. And the movie really is about him and Trinity. So I'm curious as to why you think he was gypped.
Because in all the action scenes, I mean, Neo and Keanu Reeves, he's John Wick. He's able to do all these like crazy action scenes, and it was just more of him putting his hands up, and like there was no kung fu with him. They just redid everything in the first one with the fights. Like a big fight scene in the first one was him versus Morpheus, and they just redid the same exact fight. Like you couldn't add anything else into it.
No, I
and
feel
Morpheus gets that like the sick fight scene with the sprinklers shooting down. He gets the slow motion walk shots with the guns, with him shooting left and right, killing all the agents.
Well, like I said, I think Neo is a victim in this movie that they are trying to save him. But even the moment where he's fighting Morpheus again, it's about bringing him back to life. It's Morpheus trying to basically shock him back into remembering all the things that they did together and all the things that he is going to need to do in order to save Trinity. You know, when he tells him, I know you better than them up there because I know what you're fighting for. So I didn't need Neo to be awesome in that. He's always been the reluctant hero.
Right.
It's always been like a subconscious, something's off with this world, I kind of sense it, but I need other people to bring me out of the cave. I can't do it by myself. So I think the camaraderie, the family elements of the Matrix have always been there. So, and like I said, the story, he needs to be saved here. And he's the one doing the saving in the original trilogy. He's the one that inspired this new generation. So I thought that, you know, all of his lines were so genuine. Him having to relearn all these things, you know, when he presents him the pill, and he's just like, fuck.
Yes.
Well, yeah, like
It's coming back
the whole
to me,
first
but
hour
damn,
was
I don't want to
fucking-
do this again.
The whole first hour, I think, was perfect. I was very captivated the whole first
So that's
hour.
like
You didn't like the fight between, sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah, no
between
problem.
Smith and Neo in the bathroom?
I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was good. I wasn't on the edge of my seat. Like, I don't know. I just think that they went cheap on the fights.
Well, that's like one of my problems with, and I don't know.
That's what the Matrix is,
I
man.
don't
Kung
know.
fu in action too.
Well, I thought the fights in
I
the
mean,
original trilogy
It's like
were...
Kill Bill-esque, and there was like none.
That's what they're talking about in the beginning of the movie. When it's like,
But
they're
there's
talking about
nothing
how
wrong
to
with that.
market
That's what the first one did
to
great.
market the new game to people. It's like, oh, no, people want action and this. It's like, no, they want to think.
But I don't understand the criticisms of the action in this movie, because I think that some of these action set pieces are awesome.
I think the action.
I think the first scene between Bugs and Morpheus is great when they're trying to escape and they're flipping through doors. I think Neo's first fight with Smith, like I mentioned, was awesome.
But I think it's like,
even in the end with the bot
Yeah.
bombs, you know, when he turns all those fucking bots
That
into
was
bombs
crazy.
and they're just bombing them. They're on the motorcycle. They're flipping cars. He's stopping people from falling on them.
that's the point. Like
He's
when
like
they,
Yoda, Neo.
when they
They
say
were,
he's not
that's
gonna
all he
do-
was doing though, was putting his hands up.
Right, because
Hands
he's
that
out.
like 5 times in a
That's all,
row.
that's all he was doing.
But he's evolved where he
Yeah.
isn't going to beat you up with your fists anymore. He's just going to stop
the old
bullets.
vet? He's just
Yeah,
gonna-
yeah. He's the
he's
old. He's more like Yoda, where it's.
He's not gonna fuck
That's
around
why
with you?
people didn't want Yoda flipping around with the lightsaber. He's moved past that.
But I
you
love
know?
the Yoda flipping around with the,
Like,
Yeah,
that's-
of course you do.
It's kind of funny because that's like they basically say like when people think of the Matrix, they go and he does the thing when they have that pitch
Bullet
meeting.
time.
But like in reality, I think the Matrix, what it is and what made it so great, especially the first one, is all that is used to supplement the deeper themes and the elements of the film. But going back to like a couple of things I'm iffy on was. Like, I don't mind something being meta and self-referential, but, I mean, I was taken aback by just how far they went. Right down to Warner Brothers wants us
Yeah.
to remake this for money.
Was that a
Right,
shot?
but you have to remember the original Matrix. They make an effort to keep the world in 1999. So the fact that this new Matrix would reference Mark Zuckerberg, would reference Warner Brothers, that they're living in our world.
No, but, like, it's a direct... It's...
It's a shot at Warner Brothers.
No,
Right?
No, yeah, 100% it's a
Yeah.
shot at Warner Brothers.
yeah, the corporations and the way,
Well,
I guess,
Warner Brothers made the
contemporary
movie,
film is,
and
but...
they told Lana Wachowski, "We'll do this with or without you."
Yeah.
Remember, we talked about Michael B. Jordan, the Morpheus prequel, and Lana Wachowski stepped in and said, "Fuck no."
But like just referencing itself too in the movies and how they're perceived and the debates people have about them, but using that like to talk about the game, I thought that 'cause I do actually really like the concept of him being stuck, then putting him back into the world where they have all of his memories placed into a game, and it's something that he thinks that he created. And I think that's like an excellent way to show like how to trap somebody within their thoughts and like if you take someone's memories away, did they actually like have they lived or things like that. I think we talked about that. What's that other movie when someone loses their memories and it's kind of like viewed as death?
Eternals?
No.
Well, that happens in Eternals.
Was it?
You made that comparison for Angelina Jolie's character.
Oh, yes, I did. Okay. I forget Eternals. By the way, Ted, you lost your bet, so and we're back, so get ready to
The
get
pod's
waxed.
back?
You're back to being waxed, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. If the pod's canceled, then I can't.
The pod was
I'm
never
not getting
canceled.
waxed.
It was a hiatus.
Yeah, it was a Christmas hiatus. Christmas sabbatical. You have a good Christmas?
Hope you
Wow.
enjoyed your Christmas.
Yeah.
Memo I got was that we were done.
But like using that to kind of trap him, and I thought that was like pretty well done. But it just got too much at times where I'm like, wow, this is maybe taking me out a little bit.
I thought it was so funny, man. Even the pitch meeting when he says ideas are the new sexy, that makes me laugh out loud every single time. To me, it was so ridiculous. But, you know, the changes from the original Matrix, somebody made this point on Twitter, there's no establishing shots. It's very claustrophobic and closed in. This Matrix, you know, designed by Neil Patrick Harris's The Analyst, who was way better than the Architect.
I liked him a lot. Neil
I
Patrick
thought he
Harris.
was a great villain. You know, making a Matrix that's way more indistinguishable from reality. And it's not about keeping people unsuspecting of their surroundings. It's about manipulating them. It's about keeping them on that edge that he says between yearning for what you don't have and being terrified of losing what you do. So I thought that was so brilliant, especially for the character of Trinity, where she has that sit down in the cafe, which was a great scene. I thought Carrie-Anne Moss was great in that scene, where she's like, I thought I wanted all these things that a typical woman wants. So deep down, like I mentioned earlier, in her subconscious, what she wants to be is her past life. And being Trinity means that she will will love Neo. So that's basically how she will win.
Or is it like, did I want a family because I did, or because I was just programmed my whole life to?
Right, yeah. Well, like I said, the gaslighting, my first watch, I was so into that first act. And then, obviously when they go back to the real world, and I thought the real world was actually the best it ever looked.
Right, and obviously with the increased budget and everything, and even like what they're able to do. I liked how they didn't advance too much, but they definitely advanced technologically speaking in the real world to kind of, but like it still had that like grittiness to it, and that kind of, how I guess with the Force Awakens use like the old tech kind of akin to like the original
when they go
Star Wars. And I don't like
Simulate.
Yeah,
it's the hints are there of the green. I think when they go to the basement in the bathroom, you got the lighting is great, and then you see some of the green there. It's like, yeah, they're still in the Matrix, but it's been upgraded a bit.
And I don't like I said, I don't mind being self-referential. I like some aspects of that, like little callbacks visually, and with some of the choreography and things of like that nature. And just really, like what I mentioned before, the first act or so of this movie is pretty much a remake of the first. But I think that's fitting for the story they're trying to tell, because Neo is trapped again, and having all those callbacks and the deja vu, which has been a huge theme throughout these movies. I thought that was actually really well done. Like when he looks up and kind of having, and mixing his memories with what's happening now. I thought that was kind of well done. But I mean, one thing that I think could have made this movie substantially better in my eyes is, I don't know like why this couldn't happen, but Hugo Weaving not being Agent Smith really, and I love Jonathan Groff too. Love him in Mindhunter, love him in Hamilton, but it just, those moments just did not hit the same. The first fight scene, their first interaction, the moment at the end would have just hit so much better if it was him.
I disagree. It works for me. I think his first scene that they have when he ambushes him with the news, meta commentary there. See, for me, there was a happy medium between kind of fetishizing the nostalgia and giving the finger to it completely. It's almost like a mixture of The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, kind of the best aspects of both of them, at least for me. But I thought he was great, man, when he starts to put it together, because he's a victim as well. And it's fucking hilarious. Like when they run into him at the hotel and Neil's like, Smith, you again, motherfucker. And he's like, yeah, they made you a balding nerd, and they made me even more perfect. A little cutting on the blue eyes, don't you think? To me, he was great, man. The first Mr. Anderson.
But I feel like he wasn't, I don't think he had the same mannerisms as...
No, he's supposed to be a different Smith. I think it is a Smith where he's not trying to just destroy the Matrix. He's got a more personal goal here with the Analyst, where he wants to get back at him. And he's there to play his role. He's not the villain anymore, because he helps Neo in the end. Mm-hmm. He saves him. So, and people were frustrated by that too. Oh, he just comes out of nowhere and he just saves the day. Well, I think that's something that you weren't expecting. Each time we get to that moment where Neil Patrick Harris is about to lose and he just stops time and he's going to kill them, and Smith comes out, I'm like, oh shit, Smith! I forgot Smith even exists in this world.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't know.
I didn't need Hugo Weaving. I thought the callbacks to him, the callbacks to the movie actually were great. All the footage for me. I mean, Neo was supposed to be the old man here. Even Morpheus, they could have brought back Lawrence Fishburne, right? Lawrence Fishburne, easily they could have de-aged him and said, this is the digital Morpheus. But to me, that was such a great remix of the character, because the way he played him, the way Yahya Abdul-Mateen played him, it felt like there was something off there. And then you realize, oh, he's a combination of Smith and Morpheus. To me, that's awesome. Even when he goes through the wrong door in the beginning, the other agents are like, Smith? And he gives him that smile, and he's all disoriented. But to me, I thought that was a great remix of the character. And you kind of get some of the Smithisms inside of him. I've dubbed him Morphe Smith, so...
It sets him up for the future, too, though. You establish new characters.
Smithius? I'll take Smithius. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, I kind of like that new... Like, he was somehow an even more, like... Just
he's a little cockier almost. Yeah. Like the original Morpheus was a father figure, comforting, wise. This Morpheus was also wise and comforting, but he had more of a swagger to him. Right. And I think the original did such a great job
he had
of
in the first one, though.
Yeah. Of capturing the fashion of the era. That looks like such a movie from the 90s. And I think people will look back on the fashion of today, where it's a bit quirky, but there's an emphasis on being clean. So it's very sleek, but it's a mustard suit, right? It fits perfectly, and he looks great in it, but why is he walking around in a mustard suit?
I gotta say, I think I fucked with the glasses and trench coat. Glasses and trench coat look.
Those Columbine kids fucking ruined it.
They really did.
Yeah. Hitler ruined the mustache.
Yeah.
The name too.
Yeah, right, Adolf, right?
Nope. Yeah, true. Like how
Strong
many
German name.
So many Josephs. You know?
So many.
But you hear
lot
an
of
Adolf,
Donalds.
you're like, whoa.
So like even the crew, the new crew. See, to me, the crews from the original movies were always, they didn't really stand out. But to me, this crew had chemistry, and I think a lot of these actors came from Sense8, a show I haven't watched. So I don't know if some of that chemistry carried over. I don't know how much interactions they had in that show. But I thought the crew for
like more
their
of a family.
roles.
I felt like more of a family with them.
Yeah, it really did. And Jessica Henwick, to me, is a movie star in the making as Bugs. She was my favorite part of the movie. Just watching her flip around, the glasses, the way she had a lot of Morpheus swag to her as well. And I think she kind of plays the new Morpheus in a way where she's, she has that issue with Niobe about wanting to free more minds, and Naomi becomes complacent. Like, we've found paradise, we've won. It's like, well, you haven't won for everyone, because there are a lot of people out there still stuck in the Matrix. And that was, sorry to be so long-winded, that was another fascinating idea, that most people don't want to escape anymore because of the way that this new Matrix is manipulating them. And that speech he gives Neo was some of the best acting I've seen from Neil Patrick Harris.
Game of Thrones alum, too.
So what's like...
Who's that?
Bugs?
Yes, she is. Yeah, one of the best Sansanake probably. And Iron Fist.
Before Neo gets unplugged, everyone around him in his world can get unplugged. Is that what it's like? Or can only Neo get unplugged because he's the one? And
no, anyone can be unplugged,
deeper.
but it's very difficult to convince somebody that the Matrix, even Neo. Yeah. His subconscious was telling him this wasn't real, so he creates the modal, but consciously he had no idea what was going on. So that's why it's such a risk at the end to try and bring Trinity out without her even taking the pill. Is she going to remember in those moments?
I did love all those moves, though, he had when Neo kept doubting himself, and then the cat would come in to try and bring him back to reality.
I thought that sequence was great. That first the building when they run up in the building, you hear the jingle and this isn't real, and he gets.
I kind of believe
him
with Neo. I guess he is they are trying to make it he's not really going back into the Matrix. It's all in his head.
You know what's so funny thinking about the trailers now? Every time they had one of those moments back to the Matrix, those points in the trailer. I'm like, oh, that's so cheesy. But in the movie it'll be different. It's exactly what it was in the trailer. But yeah, I think with Neo, him, the scenes with him and Neil Patrick Harris, I thought were actually very well done, especially those early therapy scenes. And even when he's taking the pill and he's still trying to convince him that it's all in his head,
believable, man.
It's a great way to manipulate him, right?
Yeah. So. I mean, I think
the idea, sorry to cut you off again, but Neil Patrick Harris being a spokesperson for a corporation who literally resurrects an icon to make more profit. I mean, the meta commentary there is not even in your face until you, okay.
Christianity.
Right, yeah, Christianity. But I found myself catching more and more of the meta dialogue.
He resurrected his son to make a profit, you feel me?
Well done. The one that the meta commentary that's on the nose, you can't miss it. But I find myself with every rewatch catching more and more of it. Even the first conversation between Neo and Bugs when he first comes to the real world, when she talks about, they took your story that was so important to people like me and made it trivial. In the scene, you're thinking, she's a new freedom fighter. Be like, oh wait, that's also cool little meta commentary there. So I keep catching more and more the more I watch it. That's why I can't stop fucking watching it. I'm like, to me, this script is going to be on my top 10 list.
I think I need to see it more. I need to see it again.
But I think there was also I think a lot of people don't love the Matrix franchise because of those two sequels. So a lot of people go into it thinking it's going to be another mess. But to me, I think it was deliberately messy.
Like a self-contained
because it's supposed
mess?
to be this line being blurred between reality and fiction. The first Matrix is like being caught in a dream, so it does have this dreamscape to it, and this one is like a very vivid, real nightmare. So the fact that it is so messy and there are so many ideas being thrown at you, I think that's deliberate because there's no easy answers, in my perspective.
Or maybe you just throw a bunch out and see what sticks.
But to me, a lot of it does stick the landing. Not all of it is going to, because they're dealing with some heavy stuff here.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. The first act I kind of really like, but also really dislike at the same time. It's very weird. because of just how on the nose a lot of it was. But when you but I guess it kind of makes sense.
But
if
don't
that's
you, yeah,
the route
right.
they were
That's the
going.
thing. You guys do agree that it's the perfect way to manipulate Neo, the character in that world.
I think they could have been
100%.
a little more subtle, is all I'm saying. But they did not choose to be.
Right, and like a movie like Don't Look Up, it's very similar, where they weren't subtle at all. That didn't work for me, but this did. And I think it's because of...
I like Don't Look Up more than you too.
Right. Because I think just the world of The Matrix, even though this isn't what The Matrix originally was, just the inherent essence of the franchise lends itself to the meta commentary. And it's also, it feels needed. It feels necessary, especially in the state that we're in when it comes to blockbusters, where more and more movies are being pushed out of the way for giant tentpole legacy sequels, capitalizing on nostalgia. Even though it could be done brilliantly in a movie like No Way Home, how many movies are going to learn the wrong lessons? How many movies learn the wrong lessons from The Matrix? So I kind of like this. You know what? I'm going to show you how to do this again. And I'm going to be real on the nose with it. And I'm not going to be subtle. Because I think there are a lot of subtle commentaries hidden throughout. But like I said, it just worked for me.
Subtly unsubtle?
I think you can. Yeah, I think they pulled it off here.
You know what was funny in the first act for me? Like, I know me and you texted about it because like the last time I seen all three Matrices was a while ago. So like watching the first act was like, I felt like I was kind of like Neo.
Oh, you went in naked.
What?
You went in like
Yeah.
without no refreshers?
I told him that.
Not even like a YouTube video?
He told me
That's
to
why I
keep, told
told
me to
him.
keep
I
going
was
with
like,
it.
watch, because you'd be like Neo. Yeah, you can barely remember what
But
happened.
that's the thing. It was pretty cool because like every time they went back to it, it was like, oh, okay, that's where we
Right.
are. And I remember that. Yeah, I remember that too.
You know what really drove me crazy is that they didn't explain that why he wasn't blind until the end. Or like close to the end. The whole time, I'm like, why isn't he blind? Why is no one saying anything? Why isn't he saying like, oh, I can see?
Right. Well, he doesn't remember anything.
I know, but that was just pissing me off.
And they also don't know who he is.
Did you guys like the idea of making Trinity the One?
See, well, the idea of the one, I like that it's bullshit, and that the only way he became the one in the original is because Trinity believed in him. So he didn't need to be believed in as the one because the world wasn't on the line here. But Trinity needed to be the one in this moment because if she didn't, she would die.
So what does that mean? That anyone can be the one, though?
I don't think
I
she
think
was
it's
the
more-
one, more of like more Oracle type vibes. Because she was able to see what was coming.
Yeah, and I think it's like Neil Patrick Harris says, separate, you know, they're basically worthless in his eyes, which is kind of mean. But together, they're a force. You know, every time he brought them together,
Depressing.
terrible things would happen for him, meaning that his matrix could be destroyed. So if he kept them close, but not too close, that's how he maximizes their profitability. So her being the one in that moment, like I said, it goes back to the whole choice.
That's diabolical.
It is diabolical. It's, you know, we can jump off together. We either die or we fly.
Yeah.
So once again, there is no choice there. The only thing to do is to jump.
They both are flying at the end. I'm like, what is this?
I thought it was cute. I thought it was a love. It's a love story.
So you were all for the love story aspect?
Oh
of this?
yeah, I think it's great. I think their relationship has always been just pure love. It's never been. It was love at first sight, right? They just meant to be together, and I think that
it's
Even when
like-
they see each other, when they don't know each other, like you can feel that connection in the coffee shop.
yeah, and I think the actors have good chemistry. I think they always have.
I mean, yeah, like, I think they were great together throughout all the first three, but I feel like love is a good motivator, but it shouldn't be the...
Driving force.
It could be the driving force, but like the ultimate way to win, like Interstellar type shit.
I don't think that this is that.
But it kind of is.
Right, but they set up that the whole Matrix operates because of their connection.
Right.
So their connection being the way that they also destroy the Matrix, for me, it doesn't come out of nowhere.
Okay, it's definitely more established, but like I feel like it's more...
And it's like a Daenerys hatching the dragons. It's like, how the hell did she do that? That needs to be explained.
Does it have to?
Sometimes things can just be... They're in a fucking virtual reality world. She just upgraded. She leveled up.
Yeah, like a video game.
That's what I kept telling
Lack of a better
myself
word.
when I was like in my own head about Neo not being blind. I'm like, it's the Matrix. Like anything can happen. But
I think it's just, like I said, it comes down to, all right, maybe she just flies out of nowhere and it's a little silly, but for me, it's the decision to jump what makes it work.
no, I kind of like that too. But like I'm just I don't know. That like
And him, like the image of that helicopter and him just hanging on to her is such a funny ass image to me. And then her fucking final line, "Bye," just flies up to the sky. See you later. I imagine people in the comments are going to be like, "What the fuck did Bo say? You know, how's he going to put this on his top 10 and not Dune?"
it's fun to talk about.
Wait, Dune's not in your top 10?
No, it's not.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely fun to talk about, but like I said before, like it got to a certain point when they're making the plan, like for the final plan. I had no idea what the fuck they were talking about.
I was lost a lot in this movie, I'm not going to lie.
No, I was doing a good
which
job
comes-
of keeping up, but like eventually I was just like, all right, now you're like, okay, they're gonna switch, and for some reason, like the deal they're gonna make is applicable to like or reasonable for the architects to. I don't know, man. I still don't know.
I gotta be honest, I might be the prototypical person that doesn't like the movie because I went into it blind for the most part. You know what I mean?
Well, a lot of
I think I should have. I should have did this movie justice and watched the first three and then watched it and gave it a review.
Well, I think it's. I can't wait to go back and watch the originals.
Yeah.
I keep.
Because I feel like I'm missing
rewatching
a
this.
lot more than what I should. Like I feel like I shouldn't be missing some stuff that you guys are talking about. If I would have watched 1, 2, and 3 before I watched this one.
Yeah, I kind of just
I'll
want
be
to
catching
address
it.
some of the criticisms that it's been receiving online. I think some of it's been so far off base when they're like, it just shits on the lore of the original, and it's a middle finger to the fans who love this franchise. I think that's ridiculous. I don't
No,
think
I
it
think all
ever
the-
gets close to
The
that.
callbacks to the first movie, I think, were actually some of my favorite parts. And kind of, there was the retelling of basically that first act in a different way where Neo's in a different spot after the events of the first one. And I kind of like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I don't think it's being pretentious in that way whatsoever.
Wow.
Like I said, I don't think it's.
And also, you can't tell Lana Wachowski that she's shitting on her own,
Yeah, she's allowed to.
like it's her property.
Even if she wanted to, she could.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the things, like, George Lucas's movies still, like, some of them sucked, but, like, it's still George Lucas. So, like, that's kind of his thing, you know?
See, and it's so satisfying to me when Neo does realize he still knows Kung Fu. His
still know
delivery
Kung
there.
Fu.
I still know Kung Fu.
That's another thing.
And even when he psychs himself up to do the
I
wall
don't even know
move,
who you are.
You know, when,
Yeah.
when Smith's about to kill him and he just
Yeah.
Yeah.
fucking
I need
walks on
more
the
of that.
wall.
I need
like,
more
even,
of
like,
that
the
from
fast
Neo, man.
fists punching when he's
I
punching
needed the
Neo.
hand-to-hand combat in the first one.
Like, I love that callback.
The jaw jack.
I was almost expecting him to do the one arm behind the back thing. I would have loved like that. But, like, I don't
But
know
see,
how do I
you
bring
see
this
like
up.
the punches that Smith was throwing. That man was trying to break his fucking
know.
jaw, dude. He's exerting so much effort, and I think like even the sequence when Smith and Neo fall to the basement, and then Bugs is like, Neo, and she goes after him, and then she gets ambushed by 3 of the remaining exiles. That sequence there is so smooth. It's like a fucking dance, where she gets hit, and then she comes back up. She takes the knife from the person charging her, stabs that other person in the heart. I thought the sequences there were incredible, and like I said, the ending with Neo and Trinity on that motorcycle, woo! I could rewatch those last 30 minutes. I don't understand the action criticism whatsoever. I would have to disagree with you, Teddy. I think most of the action was really good for me.
Can we talk about this for a second? Keanu Reeves, we all love him. Good guy. Seems like a nice guy. I still don't know if he's a good actor or not.
Damn it! I wanted to
wanted
make
to-
that fucking point, and I didn't want to get shit on for it. I
No,
wanted
he's
to say
clearly not a good actor. but
Okay,
I'm
so
still
like, why do we
Keanu
pretend?
Reeves.
Why do we
I'm a bitch. I
pretend
didn't want to
he
make that
does?
point. I don't want to
Because
get made fun of.
not all the time, obviously, but
God, you're
he's
so awkward.
he's picked the right roles.
Yeah.
And Hollywood has picked the right roles for him. He's not a great actor, but he's a movie star. When you look at John Wick, reluctant hitman. Neo, reluctant hero. Drive, reluctant bus driver.
Bill and Ted?
Point Break, reluctant surfer. Bill and Ted, yeah.
Reluctant time traveler?
Perfect, actually. He's just...
No, he's actually very good at Bill and Ted.
yeah.
Yeah, he's not really picking like crazy acting movies. Like there's
No,
acting, there's
he
obviously good acting
knows
in it, but
what he is, and I think the people that work with him best also know what he's the perfect guy to play this sort of character whose
The hero.
past has been erased. He's not really sure about what he's supposed to do or who he is. It's why he was so good in that original one, right? Will Smith tells the story of how he passed it over, but Keanu being the guy was perfect, you know. So his casting as Neo is a stroke of genius.
because he's
you know?
acting, he's acting like
You don't go
he's
into
learning as he's going.
Yeah.
Which is
That's just how
the
he
exact
acts.
role he's playing. No,
Exactly.
that's the role he's
perfect.
playing.
Yeah, it's like he's learning how to act while he's in
Learning how
the
to
movie.
be Neo.
Yes. And he's also, like you said, he loves movies. He's a great guy.
No, I love him.
Yeah. So I love the bad delivery. It's great. Am I crazy?
Oh my god, that's what it was.
We don't use that word here.
Felt real.
He did have a good
NPH
scene. Wait,
though.
hold on.
He would be a fantastic Riddler. I'm very excited for Paul Dano, but when the internet said MPH for the Riddler, I'm a little skeptical. He was full on Riddler in this movie. He's good.
He is. Like, I think he gets lumped in with his Barney character from How I Met Your Mother.
Right.
But he's like pretty good in this, and he's not
I
like
love that scene, man, when he reveals himself. I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
With the apple, with the bullet. I think, and he's
bullet time?
delivering the shit out of that monologue, dude. It's like, come home, Neo, before something bad happens.
But even that was just like a big like.
Right, but
don't
he
know.
wants him to come back. That's
Here, let me catch you up here. Like, this is what you miss, and this is that we got to explain everything because I know the audience is confused. So we got to put some pieces together in a way that kind of fits into the story, but it's also just a big dump.
I mean, it helped for me.
Yeah, I thought it was a great dump, actually. I thought it was a very, relieved. I felt very relieved after that dump. I think it's certainly exposition, but exposition doesn't work when the actor's not giving it his all, or it's poorly written. But it was an explanation that, he needed Neo himself as well as the audience, so...
Very convenient.
And the first time, yeah, but, I mean, the whole story's about him trying to escape this thing. So him learning about what he was trying to escape, is it so far-fetched that they would eventually give us that explanation? Or that he would... A villain speech? I mean, come on. It's as old as...
Someone had to have it because they took
Right.
Smith out.
Yeah, but I feel like we're
We
past
just
the
Spider-Man
villains.
No Way Home had the whole movie's exposition dump.
Yeah, but we got Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. And we couldn't even get
So
Agent
if you
Smith in
got
this
Hugo
one.
Weaving, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
You two are who the movie is talking about.
It is. I accept it. I accept that fact.
But for different reasons, but yes.
Yeah. No, I mean MPH was really good in this. I thought he was so much better than the Architect.
But even before we talked, like even when oh yeah, I think I called him the Architect before, but like when Jonathan Groff delivers like what does he say? It's like Neo, like anyone could have been you, but I could be anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like sick line, good delivery, but that's Hugo. Like I'm just like
Yeah, he's
I
not
think
in
it
it
brings
though.
it to a
He's
different
not in
level.
it.
I know. That's why I'm upset. Why
I
doesn't he?
don't think that
Why
it
doesn't he
really-
like to come back?
I
He
don't-
should have been in Red Skull too.
That's at first I was thinking, oh, maybe they could have brought back Hugo Weaving, but eventually I just got over it.
He just seems like, how much are you going to pay me for using my old footage?
Right? Yeah.
Okay, that's enough. I don't need to come back.
That's all I need to finance the summer home in Venice.
Poke his head in.
I loved Jonathan Groff's Mr. Anderson. I mean, Agent
But
Smith.
I think like even more than just like me being nostalgic, I think on the level of, Morpheus and Agent Smith being the two main influencers on Neo's life. And even though we didn't even get like the same Morpheus.
I went into it wanting the old band back together. I think that's what happened. And
Right, but the whole
I know, I
movie
need
is
to see it
about
again.
about moving forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? and not letting your past dominate
they
you.
started
At
a
the same
trilogy
time,
that's
accepting your past.
Yeah.
No, I think there are no easy answers. But, it's been 60 years. Obviously, Morpheus was dead. And Morpheus, you could blame him for the current predicament.
But yeah,
He's
I
the
like
one
Morpheus being dead because that makes sense. And like him, even though in the video game he kind of goes out weird, but him being like the statue of Morpheus and him recreating that version within him and kind of having a different look and different actor makes sense. Whereas Agent Smith is a computer program,
Right.
So
But
I think it
Agent
makes
Smith
more
was
sense.
already always a computer program.
I know, but I think it makes more sense to use kind of Hugo and not have Lawrence Fishburne in that way. Whereas like the physical Morpheus died, but the recreation of Morpheus combined with Mr. Smith creates this.
I mean, does the movie really become that much better for you if it's Hugo Weaving?
Just those
You have
moments.
to ask that. Right, but are those moments really going to add up to that much of a better movie?
You underestimate my.
I'm wondering, but
No,
see, that's
I don't
the
know.
thing.
no, but
so.
if you look in the future, though, not like having these new characters and establishing them just does better for.
No, you're right.
Like it establishes these characters for new movies.
I don't think it takes. I don't think it like it might
if you
add
don't
a
do
few.
this, where do you go after this?
Might add like a few like little like fractions for me. I think it just makes a couple moments a little bit better, a little bit nostalgic, and kind of wrap a nice bow on things.
They're lucky that they did it good.
The new Morpheus, you're expanding on the ideas of, like Neo says, the definition of our side. So it's not only minds being freed anymore, it's AIs. Like he says, not all seek to be free, not all seek to control. So you have Sabebe and the little robot sidekick, that's Seacat. I love Zeke, actually. I love the way he was hacking in and out and shit.
I like Sabebe.
Yeah, like that. I like the wrinkles they added, like the advancements in tech. Like I said before, like the little advances they had, not only with like the reminded me of like Man of Steel. Kind of like that.
Yeah. They're the assistants that they had.
I thought that was pretty awesome. But like the way he could project himself into the Matrix without physically being in the Matrix, and kind of the way they're able to.
You're talking about the statue thing that Morpheus goes into, right?
Yeah, and go through the doors and the portals, and the way they don't need the phone to get out anymore.
Yeah, the hacking mirrors was a nice touch.
Mm-hmm. I think I like it a little bit more now that I'm talking about it, but I think while watching it, though, I was kind of...
Like, Morpheus coming out of the bathroom at last. I was so confused. I was like, because he's doing the Morpheus thing.
Because sometimes it's goofy.
But he's in the bathroom. What did you say?
I guess the original was kind of goofy, but I just kind of figured that it... I don't know.
I just love that they played on it in the movie. Like, it wasn't just like they were doing it to recreate it. They were like making... Not making fun, but they were like calling it back to the first one.
Right. That's why I think even though it is messy, a lot of it does tie together, where it fits the narrative that she was trying to tell, being so meta. You could do this story without the meta commentary, but because of the way the story is structured, you can also get away with that.
I think I was really surprised
even with the Oracle with the little
that's
girl.
the route they went. I think if it was less heavy-handed and kind of letting me be like, oh, yeah, that's like that. That's like they're telling you, no, this is exactly what this is. And... I'm sure, like, that's obviously done intentionally, but at times I just wish it was they scaled back a little bit.
But even the Merv, the French guy from Matrix 2, coming back and complaining about face suck and wiki shit. You know, the Neil Patrick Harris wanted to create the most manipulative, emotional, all based on feelings Matrix ever. So he sets it in 2021. That's so funny to me. You know, the original Matrix was a permanent 1999. And they're like, wait a minute. 2020 was even worse, right? The worst year in human history. So it almost fits, you know? It's like she got the perfect year.
1999 looks like a fucking drag.
Well, that's the thing. I think she made a deliberate aesthetic choice here that people are complaining about. Why doesn't it look like the original Matrix? The original Matrix was so gritty, and this one's too clean. It looks like reality. Well, I mean,
it is.
Pay attention to what the analyst is saying. Yeah, those are the criticisms that I felt were just ridiculous to me. Like it shits on the lore.
It did take me not like a long time, but like for a couple seconds to be like, oh wait, yeah, 2021 happened in the Matrix world. Because this shit was taking place like thousands of years into the future.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just, and then when the new movie comes out in 20 years, it's going to be set in. Hopefully, that's a terrible year too, for the sake of these movies getting even more, I guess, pessimistic about the state of filmmaking. I would like them to continue with these new characters.
Yeah, it'd be nice to watch.
I imagine most people don't.
I like them enough to want to see them again.
I liked a few of them. I think some like the 8 and 9 man off the bench. It's like they were cool, but like we literally got like nothing from them or any setup, and like at the end we're supposed to be like, ooh.
But even like the character who is a Trinity fangirl, to me that's all you need. You know, she has that one scene with Neo. She's like, I got into this because of Trinity. And Neo's like, and you're starting to think that maybe she's not the same anymore. It's just, that's all you need.
Well, I like that like kind of aspect of, you know, the red and the blue. Obviously, like throughout the first 3 and this one, it's very much like the choice is an illusion, right? Because there's only one choice to make at that point.
Right.
But people who experienced the real world and the knowledge of what is on the other side, them being reluctant to take the pill, I think adds a nice wrinkle to it. Because it's not just someone who's been oblivious and blind to this their whole life. It's someone who experienced this and kind of can find somewhat happiness and be content with even the mundane or even the worst of circumstances, but still be hesitant to return to what is real and what knowledge that brings.
Well said. And I think on that note, we'll move on to our next review. So that is The Matrix Resurrections. You got any more thoughts?
No, I want to know what review you're going into right now.
Oh, Don't Look Up.
Right now?
Yeah, you want to talk about it? Didn't you watch Don't Look Up?
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that maybe you didn't watch it.
Oh, I didn't know we were going to review it.
Oh, well, we figured since we've all seen it. I didn't know if Aaron had seen it, so. But we were joking on the Hawkeye review that you saying, it's so weird. I watched that movie too.
I'm piggybacking on it?
No, it's weird because you finally watched a movie when it came out. Like, yeah, that is weird.
Elena was watching it. I walked in on it.
So what part did you walk in?
When they were in the restaurant. When the riots first started because of Jennifer Lawrence's character.
Okay, so you missed a good chunk.
What, it was like half hour before it?
Okay, well, I guess so.
Yeah.
All right, so Don't Look Up, Adam McKay's new star-studded movie came out on Netflix. Once again, a movie that's super meta, a commentary on, I guess, today's world. Mm-hmm. And there's definitely a lot of metaphors you could take from it. And yeah, it was for me, it just wasn't funny.
I laughed out loud a few, I watched it again at home. I've laughed more than I thought I would. Because I never, when I watch something, the most I'll give is I got a good couple chuckles.
Jonah Hill got me a couple times.
Adam McKay, man. He's, I think with Vice, you could afford to be less subtle in some of the aspects and the way, obviously, the story he was trying to tell and the way he attacked it. I feel here it was a lot of the problems I had with Matrix in totally different ways, but here it was very on the nose. And I think that changes a lot when the original idea was supposed to be a commentary on climate change, and which I think it worked as a great satire. But I think a lot of people, and in the current state we're in, which is not his fault, but I think a lot of people equate it to the wrong message here. But you can equate them all together in terms of people's reactions to both COVID and climate change and what the science says versus what they're being told on television. And I do think there is that's a perfect avenue for satire, but I think at times it did feel a little bit too much.
Yeah, and it also feels okay, we're living in this, so
'cause it's talking to
you're
me.
Satirizing a world that is so ridiculous, and
Yeah.
I'm watching this movie and I'm like, this isn't ridiculous enough.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make this more ridiculous. Obviously, there's not a fucking comet hurtling at our
you're
planet, but
I feel like at
idea was
times
there,
I was
though.
you're talking to me because I'm someone who does believe in climate change and things like that, and I'm okay, that's just a bit of an easy way to go, and okay, I kind of get it, just be a little bit more on that aspect, but other than that,
does Adam McKay think anybody watched this movie and thought, you know what? I didn't believe in climate change.
Right, it's not
I'm
going
gonna
to
start
change
recycling.
anybody's fucking opinion on anything.
So the people who hype it up, I've seen so many people hyping it up as this movie's so important for our times. And it's the people that
not.
never talk about the issues that are actually important for our times. But it's almost they want to hide behind a great satire so they don't have to actually get into the nitty-gritty details of the actual problems we have.
It's just going to reestablish what people already believed. If you're someone on the right and sees this, you're another fucking Hollywood propaganda piece who's talking down to me.
Right.
And if you're on the left and watch this, you're going to be oh yeah, oh wow, Adam McKay, wow. Yeah, you know what? That is what's happening today. Look how ridiculous it is. And
Yeah.
I think obviously framing that in a comedy works to its advantage. And I do think a lot of the comedic aspects that follow, I really did enjoy. And I did like the story. I was very much invested into how frustrated I got at sometimes because they're trying to support a message and the people's reactions and either not believing them or not taking it seriously or not wanting to believe it because it is something so devastating. I kind of enjoyed.
But what side was Adam McKay making fun of? Is there a side that he's on?
Can't tell. I wonder.
Ted's wait a minute, these are criticisms.
No.
No, well, so Dan Murrell said the movie is pissing off people on the left, it's pissing off people on the right. That means it set out it did what it set out to do.
And I knew what I was getting into. So
did it though? I mean, who did it?
Yeah.
Piss off on the. I don't know who it pissed off on the left. This is I think you were spot on. This is just for liberals to prop up and for conservatives to be mad and for, if you do this. I don't care that it's on the nose as long as it's funny. But if you want to trick people, if you actually maybe want to convince people to come on your side, whatever your side is, you need a little bit more subtlety. If that was what you were going for, maybe that's not what he was going for, and it's just
He's
a
not a very
traditional
subtle guy, and that's fine.
No. But okay, so Step Brothers is an all-time great movie for me. I think it's fucking hilarious.
But also a commentary on
on millennials not wanting to, the Middle East, Middle East millennials. Balls to the wall, and it's just fucking consistently funny. If this was more funny for me, then it definitely works. It's just a comedy.
So
I think at times it almost wants to present itself as a smart movie. Yeah. And I think Leo was miscast. I think somebody like Seth Rogen would have been so much better in this role.
That's actually, I liked Leo in this, but now that you say that,
somebody who can be dramatic but also funny, kind of blend the two.
Just even seeing his name, you kind of you want to invest yourself in a serious movie like this might turn somewhere else. It's not going to be.
I will go back.
Full-on comedy.
I don't think Seth Rogen could nail that
serious side,
that
the
serious
side.
moment when he goes off the rails.
You haven't seen American Pickle?
I did. I hated that movie.
Get Hard.
It's another movie I loved. That's Will Ferrell.
Oh, you said Seth Rogen. I don't know why. You said Seth Rogen, and Will Ferrell came in my head.
John C. Reilly could have fucking nailed both of those aspects.
I think John C. Reilly could have done it, yeah.
But yeah, I don't I kind of like Leo playing against type here. But
right, yeah, Leo being and him
having his panic attacks and his anxiety, I found very funny. The reoccurring bits I was fucking on when he's going crazy and talking about I can't people aren't hitting that classic Leo freak out and everything like that, nailing it, and just cuts to him in the back with the thing over his head. I thought that was fucking hilarious. And Jennifer Lawrence not just keep going back to why the general charged her for the chips and water. And that's the thing, it felt like it was some of the comedic elements and some of the bits they were doing were very much Step Brother type, Anchorman type bits. But also it wanted you to view it as maybe a Big Short Vice type. Whereas I feel like those movies balance those much better. Satire, comedy, great drama, compelling story. This was missing one of those elements. It didn't mesh as well. Where
story.
It was like Anchorman comedy, but wanting to be taken seriously like The Big Short. But a little bit of Vice sprinkled in.
I think Meryl Streep as the president was probably my favorite performance. I think she was very funny. She is just such a. Everything they say about her really is true, huh?
I didn't know she was that good.
She's really good. Cate Blanchett. At first, I didn't even realize that was Cate Blanchett.
She
acted hotter.
Fantastic.
She made herself hotter just through her acting. She's amazing.
Yes.
Both of them. I don't even know what to say.
She's
about
somehow
them.
in Lord of the Rings when when they're getting introduced to her and she's the most beautiful being they've ever seen. That was how long ago?
I know, yeah.
And then she hits us with Hela in this, and she's arguably more attractive.
I was so attracted to her in this movie, and I've said it before on the pod that she's one of my favorite actors of all time, if not my favorite. So just to see her, like I said, she fooled me in the beginning. I thought, who is this next to Tyler Perry? And I was like, oh my god, it's Cate Blanchett. Mm-hmm. Just her presence, she had the Fox News blonde anchor vibes down pat.
Big Cate Blanchett fan, but still haven't seen Where'd You Go, Bernadette?
I have.
You have?
Yeah. No, I watched that this year.
That came out?
Yeah, it did come out.
Wow.
It was solid. She was very good in it.
Where'd you go?
Alaska. Or the Arctic. She fucking dipped on her family, actually. And Mark Rylance as Bill Gates.
That's one I didn't know until I knew. It took me a while to be like, oh, yeah, okay.
I thought that's the one scene that made me really lose my shit. I thought that was the funniest part of the movie when he's giving the demonstration of how they're going to blow up the rock and the inspirational music starts playing and he's talking about the end world hunger.
Bro,
and it's going to be trillions of dollars.
Bro, the commercials were fucking so funny.
Oh, with Leo trying to convince him to support the comment or whatever the fuck it is.
Are you guys pro-comment or not comment?
His commentary on
that was actually the comment creating jobs was fucking hilarious. I'll give him that.
Are you
was so
pro-comment?
funny.
No, I'm anti-comment.
The only person I really hope Elon Musk and Bill Gates watch this movie.
Yeah,
that's the only criticism.
Well, his commentary on capitalism and even the elite left and things like that, I thought was actually better than his commentary on the other side.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. Because, okay, so I guess that's where there are people out there who still think Bill Gates is a good guy. So
right.
I guess those people were upset, or the Elon Musk fanboys as well. But, you know, it just taking the piss out of that whole archetype of we're doing this to move humanity forward.
My God, blow me.
So I definitely enjoyed that aspect of
The
it.
social media back and forth too, with the comment and like the DILF, or well, not the DILF, the ALF. What is it? Astronomer I'd like to fuck?
Yeah.
I thought that was also very funny. I do think there's like a lot of really funny aspects to this movie that
I love the ending.
thoroughly enjoyed. Ending was fucking awesome. Chalamet's character I thought was funny, like coming in, he added a nice wrinkle to the dynamic.
That was a funny
I didn't
ass
like
line.
the second ending because that's like more going to that ridiculousness of his fucking his like traditional comedies where the fucking Meryl Streep gets eaten by a whatever and they're thousands of years into the future. I thought that was incredibly stupid.
I didn't even know there was a Jonah Hill post-credit scene.
There was?
Yeah, he emerges from the rubble. He survives the comet.
There was post-credit scenes?
Yeah, there were two.
What a joke.
There's one in the far future where it's all the people who escaped are on a alien planet and they just get murdered by some inhabitant of the inhabitant creature on the planet.
His cuts are so weird sometimes, man. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's just abrasive.
Well, my cousins, they all watched this together, and they were like, should we watch it? I was like, I don't really like it, but let me know what you think. And they all loved it. So maybe if I watched in a theater, it would have been funnier. Sometimes I feel like that happens.
Yeah, but then
with
when
comedy.
you watch it, but then if you watch it at home, and like that, would I really want to pay?
They would have had me for 6 months, a year.
Jonah Hill is he just makes me laugh. I think that's
he's
like
another good actor.
when,
He's just a good actor.
when he's they're in Mission Control and he tries to kiss Jennifer Lawrence. I generally like had a 2-minute chuckle.
No, I laughed out loud when Timothée Chalamet gave his Twitch username to Leo's wife and asked her if she games. You game? He looked at her mad serious, like, I might find a new Twitch follower here.
And even like some of like the dramatic elements, some of them like kind of worked for me as well. I think like when even like Chalamet like explaining his religion to Jennifer Lawrence and all that, I thought was well done. Like there were some moments of like I think actual like good like dramatic writing and acting, but I just think it was like at times it just kind of lost track of what it really wanted to be in that aspect. But I was just like sitting down watching it, like laughing, like I kind of enjoyed it. I don't think it was like nearly anything close to like The Big Short. I liked Vice way more than this too, but I don't think it's as bad as like you.
Are you assuming that it wanted to be this serious though?
No, he tells me it does, but it also didn't. Obviously I don't think like from the trailer or any of the promotion and the way it plays out right away you can tell it's not like your traditional type of drama comedy. It's going to be a little bit more wacky, but I think at times it just kind of loses track of how wacky it wants to be and how serious it wants to be.
Yeah, I think tonally it was a little inconsistent. And that happens, especially when you're making a movie like this. Satires aren't easy. And like I said, dude, I guess he did have to change it because of the pandemic, and people are going to naturally relate it to the pandemic. But the actual circus is so much crazier at this point. So it's so hard to satirize the real world. It's like GTA. The GTA writers are like, we can't write a new game because we don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. The world has surpassed us in terms of satire. There's no making this more ridiculous.
Ron Perlman shooting the comment too made me like fucking die.
Wanted to all the strong, hardworking white Americans out there.
Different era. No, he did shout out to gays.
What got me for a little was when it was after Jennifer Lawrence started that riot. The next scene was her in the cop car with the mask over, and they're just talking to her through the window.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, they don't actually do that. I told them to do that. It's like a lot of that.
The FBI wants you what? Removed? Is that what they said?
A lot of that works for me, and I think like to a certain, I just expected a little bit more because Leo is very selective with his roles. Jennifer Lawrence, this is her first movie since Red Sparrow.
Sounds about right. Yeah, Ted, get on that. Well, Don't Look Up. I mean, if you guys have any last thoughts on it, I'm thinking we can move on to fan questions here. But I mean, for a lot of people, they've enjoyed this movie. So
I think maybe I just like going into it, I was expecting more because of like the cast and Adam McKay's transition recently into the films he was making. I guess if you view it as like you're going to see an Anchorman, it probably works better for people.
yes, yeah, oh yeah.
But I just wasn't expecting that. But I still like enjoyed watching it, and I think it was intriguing enough and funny enough for me to be like, okay, I like this.
If you don't count Dark Phoenix,
Red
Sparrow was the last one.
I was going to guess Dark Phoenix. I was thinking, I totally forgot Dark Phoenix existed, but I was like, I think it's an X-Men movie, but Apocalypse was 2017.
You know what's weird? Going into today, this podcast, I talked myself into liking Matrix more and like not liking Don't Look Up more as much. Hawkeye stayed the same.
Hawkeye said, yeah, no, I
That's
think
what we kind of talked about.
I think it was, well, maybe you're too influenced by me.
I'm
like your
definitely influenced
Trinity.
by you.
Oh, that I know, yeah. But
kinda bothers
you're
me.
influenced by Aaron, too.
No,
The real estate you have in my head bothers me.
I think I influenced myself.
Fair enough. I won't rob you of your agency.
About my agency.
I thought Jada Pinkett
What
Smith,
is
just to go
agency,
back
Ted?
to Matrix, I thought she was so good as Niobe, but worn out general. I love when old people have positions of power. Not in the real world, but just in movies. Because the old people in the real world end
All
up...
right, Don't Look Up.
Their,
We're just talking about how
their
much we hate
brains
it.
end up becoming mush when they're in their 80s, but in the movies, they're still sharp. Like Logan Roy. I want him
like that.
leading the world. All right, let's move on to fan questions. How about that? Nice little fan question theme. Bring that back. Stephen A.
That's for the fan to decide.
People you call up to the show, you better be ready. That's what you're supposed to do. Sitting there arguing and you're trying to spell your name and all of this other stuff. It's not your show, it's my show. I'm giving you the opportunity to speak your mind. Don't call up here unless you got something to say.
Still haven't heard it yet.
You really haven't made it that far into a podcast, huh? First question here
Logan
from
Roy
Shannon
would be
Bailey.
actually a great president because he'd be so good of making everyone think everything's okay.
Oh, yeah, no, he'd be the perfect
While everything's
pragmatist.
going crazy, but no one knows and everyone's just happy under
Yeah.
him.
Well, that's what Ben Shapiro used to say about Tywin Lannister, that he wanted him to be king because at least the trains would run on time. And I was like, you
Yeah,
know what?
that's facts.
I hate you and I disagree with mostly everything you say, but solid point.
Do you ever I always find myself watching his reviews.
The only two reviews I've ever watched of his are Black Panther, because I just heard it was typical Ben Shapiro, and I was like, it's like watching a car wreck, and Game of Thrones.
I saw his Dune. I'm like, I don't know why, but I'm interested in what he likes, like what he has to say about
It's
Dune.
fascinating how Ant-Man is his favorite MCU movie. That is so on brand. The least movie with no message, no themes. It's just small guy, big guy. Small guy, big guy. Ben Shapiro approves.
You see, it's relatable to him.
Yeah. He's like, in my head, I'm big guy. In real life, I'm small guy. All right, this question here from Shannon Bailey. Do you think No Way Home will age well after just a week? I'm already a lot lower on it.
What?
Ooh, interesting.
I think the novelty of seeing it for the first time, I think there is something that kind of can wear off in terms of the moment and impact it has and just how you're feeling in that moment. But I think narratively and structured and what it means for the character moving forward, I think that will always stay. That's why I think I like Infinity War more than Endgame, because no matter how many times I see Infinity War, I don't think any of those moments get taken away at all because they're just so well done. Whereas Endgame, favorite part, screamed like a child when Cap pulled out the hammer. I'm not going to do that ever again when I see it. I'm just like, oh,
I
that's
still
cool.
get the chills when Cap does that, though.
It's still a great moment, but it's
Getting
not.
the chills
It's never
right
going to
now.
hit the
So
same.
am I. The hair on my neck standing up right now.
But the Doctor Strange versus Thanos fight scene is always just going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, and I think the MCU does a good job of, you kind of forget when certain things are going to happen. I think it will happen the same way with No Way Home on repeat viewings, because that scene with Aunt May, Goblin, and Peter is so explosive and so sad. And then the next scene is the introduction of the Spider-Man. It's a comforting thing to follow that devastation. So I think every time it is going to hit, because you're going to be so emotionally invested in the chaos, and then the movie pauses to bring us back to the nostalgia of our childhood.
And a lot of the big moments are rather intimate for how big we're perceived as fans. Where
Yes.
I don't think, and I think that does translate from viewing to viewing.
The reason this movie will last long is because, apart from the Goblin fight in the apartments, the lasting memories I have of this film is the acting from Garfield, Holland, and Maguire, and Aunt May, and
I think
Osborn.
It's one of the best live-action Spider-Man stories for just Peter Parker, Tom Holland's Peter Parker. I've seen it twice, and I still don't think any of the crossover elements take away from what they were trying to do for this character. So I think by the end of it, every time he ends up completely on his own, it's always going to be sad to watch that, for him to have to start over. And I mean, it's a point that we've seen Peter Parker in other iterations at, but for this character to get to this point in that way, to me, will only age better as time goes on. At least that's my prediction. Because I have been starting to wonder how far up should I rank this in the MCU. Maybe I'll go give it another watch, but I have it at 6 right now, so...
Hey, man, from how many movies they have, 6 is pretty high for the MCU.
Well, it's going to get hard to crack that top 5 now.
This question here from Lucas Goldhammer. When do the results of the Ted and Aaron bet come out? Well, I guess we can announce them now, right?
Yeah, we got to set up a time, date, appointment.
Bullshit.
I
got robbed. The pandemic came back. I should get...
How did you get robbed? You both had the pandemic.
The pandemic came back full force.
No, not for Eternals.
Not for Eternals. That happened like 2 weeks ago.
No, we're in like 3 months now of the pandemic being back.
No, we're not. And speaking of which, it's at its worst right now, and guess how much money Spider-Man's made?
Yeah, but Spider-Man's not Eternals.
Exactly. That's your fault for picking Eternals.
What'd you want me to pick?
You could have just been like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to make a bet.
We're only doing my chest hair, right?
No, he said upper body. No.
Dude, there's 0 chance I'm doing my arms. I'm not doing my arms. I'll do my chest hair.
We got to go back to the footage and see what you agreed to.
I can't wax my arms,
if you
dude. There's no way.
If you agreed to it, then yes, you're gonna. That's the way it bets.
This question here from Kane at Kane the Stranger. So how about that Succession finale? Great finale, man. We haven't gotten the chance to talk about that. We took the hiatus when Succession ended, but I think we're planning to do a season 3 review.
Yeah, well,
it's too good not to review it.
It's like one of the better finales
Ted
in a show
thinks I'm fucking with him.
that has
With
great
what?
finales.
Like, it's too good not to review. You give me a look like, should I watch it?
Yeah,
then?
we get it.
I mean, it's like in a show that has had 2 fantastic finales, this one being the best is just a testament to and.
Well, man,
It's just a perfect episode. It's like the masterpiece of television making. It's that good.
When you could just bring all your main characters in a room and have them speaking to each other, and that's the most explosive piece of television I've seen all year.
They call it the Red Wedding.
Right.
Like the Red Wedding Part 2.
It was their equivalent of the Red Wedding, dude. And even some of the gifts, dude. Like, I just saw one on Twitter where Logan asks Roman to trust him. And the next gif is the look that Kendall gives him.
Yeah.
It's so good, man, the
and
actor.
I don't think the season is as tight as the other 2. I think it definitely wavered for me a little bit, especially in that middle where it kind of was just, it seemed to jump around and was kind of a little inconsistent. Even though, I'm saying this as, it's still being the best show on television, but not to the standard as maybe season 2. But that finale was probably one of the best things they've ever done.
This question here from Brandon at BrandonM_1200. Thoughts on the new Bat and Cat trailer? I didn't watch this trailer. I'm done.
I didn't watch it either.
I don't want to watch it.
Which is shocking.
I'm sold. I've seen some of the gifs from this new trailer. Mm-hmm. He sleeps somebody bad. Did you guys see that gif?
Bat and Cat?
It's a new Batman trailer, but it focuses on Batman and Catwoman.
Elena said there's a new Batman coming out. I thought she was talking about Robert Pattinson's Batman.
She is.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what this is?
Yeah, it was a new trailer they released.
I gotta see it.
And it focuses more on Zoe Kravitz and Robert Pattinson's relationship as Batman and Catwoman. So I'm...
You say he sleeps someone in this?
Dude, he grabs somebody's gun and punches... He uses the gun to punch this guy in the neck. And the guy just... knocked out. He probably killed him. This is the Batman meme, now talk. Yeah. This is now talk Batman. Nobody's talking in this one, man. He's sleeping everybody.
No matter how many times I see a variation of that meme, I laugh
funny,
at it just as hard as the first time I've seen it. Because it's just so fucking true.
Now talk. This question here from Celeste D. Bailey. Films you are most looking forward to in 2022?
Morbius.
Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Yeah, the Batman, I guess, or Morbius.
The two, they're jockeying.
Do you guys not want to see Morbius?
I'm excited for Morbius.
I think it looks pretty good.
I think it could be a pleasant surprise. I wouldn't be surprised if it's terrible, given Sony's track
The
record.
trailer made it look like it was good.
Yeah, so far the trailers have been promising. So.
I just left at the article from earlier this year. In a year where Spider-Man and Dune came out, it's like, oh, for the second year in a row, Morbius is everyone's most anticipated movie.
Oh, that's showing that.
It's so ridiculous.
What else is coming out next year? What Marvel stuff are we getting?
Well, I know there's a new Jordan Peele movie.
I'm such a fucking loser.
Nope.
What Marvel stuff is coming out?
Yeah. The Secrets of Dumbledore. When it comes to Marvel, Thor: Love and Thunder is coming out.
Okay.
So,
well, those are like the only movies I get. Like, usually I just get taken back. Like, obviously, like looking to this year.
The Northman?
Like Licorice Pizza. Like, that's just something that comes up.
Avatar 2.
Oh fuck.
Uncharted.
But like but movies like Licorice Pizza. It's like I'm anticipating them, but I'm not actively. It's just like when they come out, I'm like, all right, let's fucking do this. Whereas like Spider-Man, we've been talking about it for years.
Right. Yeah. You can. I saw an article the other day. It's like all these directors have movies coming out. I already forgot the list. I just remember Jordan Peele being on the list and Robert Eggers with The Northman. So
can't wait.
Even the movies that I have plugged in for Sundance, if you come to my head, I couldn't name 5 of them.
I think the only one
I remember Final Cut. That's it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward for that, and I think I forget the name. One of the Dakota Johnson ones.
Yeah, exactly. Colin Farrell's got one.
When does Last of Us come out?
I think that is 2022.
Nice.
Yeah,
well, we're getting Lord of the Rings and House of the Dragon this year.
Hell yeah!
Wow.
This question here from Jay Salico. Do you think Andrew Garfield should get his 3rd Spider-Man movie?
Yes. And yes.
Will
and should.
No.
I think there's a way better chance that he guest stars in a Venom. Because Sony's making a lot of money off of their MCU Spider-Man. You don't want to dilute it into 2 Spider-Man. You can't do Amazing Spider-Man while doing Spider-Man 4. To me, it's just too much. So I think it makes way more sense to make him supporting character Spider-Man, where you could feature him in the marketing vaguely, and people will, Spider-Man's going to be in this. Ooh. And then if they like watch it and they're like, oh, that's not Tom Holland, it's like, well, shut the fuck up. You're watching a movie. If the movie's good, no one will care.
Would you be opposed to Doctor Strange figuring out the multiverse and you can pluck Garfield out and help out in a Spider-Man? Would you guys be opposed to that?
So you want him back in the MCU?
I wouldn't mind him coming back.
I don't mind him being Spider-Man in the Sonyverse as long as he's not the central character.
Maybe in the next Spider-Man he's versing the Sinister Six this time, not like helping them. Like he actually has to fight them all. And maybe you can pluck one of you can pluck Garfield out to help him out.
Again?
Yeah. This time actually help him out and they fight. They work together.
Well, the rumors have been Amazing Spider-Man 3, he plays a guest role in Venom or in Morbius, or they're going to do Secret Wars. That's another big rumor going around that Tobey and Garfield will come back for Secret Wars.
Well, as much as I like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, I think it just works better as a one and done. Like he got his chance to shine and kind of make up for those movies and be the character again, and it goes off sailing to the sunset.
It just sucks that he wasn't a problem from the movies.
Because the Sony movies it's only a couple so far, but
so you
sucked.
Don't want him to come back. Do you think he will?
No.
Okay.
I think he's just focusing on so many other things right now.
Well, for him, he definitely would come back.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
He loves playing Spider-Man, dude. And that was another rumor out there that he's told Marvel and Sony, yeah, I'll come back for whatever.
Okay, that's cool.
And he does do a good job of picking roles, but when it comes to Spider-Man, I guess he's got a soft spot. Through his performance, you could see how much fun he was having to be back there. But in the perfect world, it is a one-off, right? Because it worked this one time.
Yeah, and I think it's a good way it is. It's like, I love Christian Bale, but I don't want him to show up and fucking...
Well, that would be so stupid, man.
Yeah.
People saying they want the 3 Batmans. They would just kill each other. They're going to all talk about how miserable they are.
Is there like a comic or like a world where there's the 3 Bat... Like, there's...
No,
there's
they just want them to do what No Way Home did.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Or the 3 Supermen.
That doesn't make sense, though.
No, it makes no sense. This question here from Gazzo. Best Tom, Hiddleston, Hardy, Holland.
Hiddleston.
Hanks.
Yeah.
Starts with an H.
Probably didn't go over
It wasn't part of the thing, though, right?
No, but it works.
Switching it up. Yeah.
That wasn't the question, though.
I'm shoving in
I
Tommy
would pick
Hanks.
Hanks, too, though.
No, I'm picking out of those 3, Hiddleston.
Yeah, I like Holland. He seems like he's just a good guy, cool kid.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy strikes me as a dick, and I hate Venom.
I watched a interview with someone, and it was about Tom Hardy and how he acts. And the person, I forget who they interviewed, but they said he's like an alpha on the set. You know what I mean? Like he's just like a bully, kind of. It's like he pisses in like he marks his territory. He's just like really aggressive.
Fucking loser.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, that makes my decision even more.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck your Venom movies. Imagine just doing that, just like, oh, look how sick I am, and just piss in a corner.
He wasn't like piss. I'm not. He didn't really piss in a corner. I'm just saying it's like he wants to be like alpha, like the top dog.
I do like that metaphor, yeah, that he has to piss on things. But I could see a Hollywood actor.
See, I
just
didn't even
doing
question
that.
him. In my mind,
Yeah.
I thought Tom Hardy actually just pisses.
It's just a Hollywood thing.
Yeah. No, I'm sure he's
Just
a
goes
nice
in the
guy.
corner of the set.
This question here from Danny Appleseed. Most underrated movie or show of 2021? You know, I'm going to go with Midnight Mass because a lot of the awards have been coming out for TV shows, a lot of the critic awards, and Midnight Mass hasn't been getting any love.
Really?
And I think Hamish Linklater, we said this on the review, that's still my favorite performance of the year.
He's so fucking good, man.
So I would say it's been underrated because you don't really hear many people talking about it, and that's a show that I think I'll go back and rewatch that every Halloween.
Yeah.
Watching that, I didn't know that it's not getting any love, so I wouldn't think that it wouldn't get the loves. So
Right.
knowing that, I guess
like movies, I think there's like a lot of like
I would say
don't know.
Old Henry.
Yeah.
Tim Blake Nelson movie, so good. Haven't heard much about it, but
I mean, there's
thought it was great.
so many movies. It's weird because like some of them I think like hit with some aspects of film Twitter where some just go unnoticed, like and just kind of disappear into the void. Where it's like even with foreign films, I think like The Worst Person in the World, that's actually has a lot of hype around it. A lot of people like want to see it, and I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, sure, that's underappreciated in terms of like the general audience, but as far as like people who seek out film, not so much. So then you go to something like maybe like Marina that we saw that I don't think anyone else I've seen anyone talk about, which I thought was actually very well done, and like I really enjoyed that movie.
That's going to be one of those, if that director gets big, a movie that people look back on like, oh, you have to see Marina. That was the good first one.
You could tell maybe like Titan, like just because it didn't get any award Oscar love.
Yeah, it's not going to be. It wasn't shortlisted.
So, what did for France?
I don't even think it was Petite Maman.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't even remember what movie it was, but that was unfortunate because at least when you get the nomination, more eyeballs are on it. Man, people were talking for a while that Titan may have had a shot at Best Picture. Yeah. So,
or even like Seven Prisoners. Who do you think's seen that?
I know, isn't that on Netflix now?
It's very good. If it is, and you listen to this podcast, like that was a great movie.
I would say, I don't know if you could say it's underrated, but like Flea, I wish more people were talking about.
It's documentaries, though. It's
sometimes those documentaries break down.
Unless it's like fucking Tiger King, something like weird,
or Bowling for Columbine. 2 Columbine references on one pod. Who's taking that bet? Who just cashed out on the Nerd Soup boxes?
What was the over? Like 0.5. It's like maybe they'll say something.
Maybe, yeah. All right, let's take some more questions. A couple more, and then we'll wrap this up. This one here from Kevin Oakey. Teddy fight story? I guess they just want to know how you got that black eye. Have you told that story before?
What black
we
eye?
definitely have.
Yeah, we have, right?
What black eye?
Your famous picture.
Oh, that picture. Yeah, I got jumped at Lily's.
What is Lily's? Who is? Is that a friend?
I'm not getting into it if you want to get into it.
No, let's just go to the next question here from Dom O'Connor.
Lily's is a bar, and my friend started a fight, and I had to jump in. The fight got brought outside. One of our friends got knocked out, so then I had to jump in again, and then I got stomped out by like 7 people.
Oh boy, this question here from Dom. Who is a more creative or best web swinger? Toby, Garfield, Holland. It's Garfield. Garfield's got the best web swinging, right?
But creative?
Oh, web slinging.
Like what is he able to do?
Wait,
like,
web slinging or swinging?
Swinging.
But creativity is different.
I liked McGuire's and swinging in the first one.
Like when he's slinging and stopping the train and using all the buildings as leverage. That's pretty cool.
Just strictly swinging.
When Garfield,
like who's the best freestyler, basically. Who's the best swinging parkour?
McGuire had a good one in was it the Venom one? When he got the key to the city?
Okay.
When he landed on the...
you know what? Somebody made the case that
the
swinging at the end of the Spider-Man movies, they all do it. Mm-hmm. and that Tom Holland has consistently had the worst. He
Oh,
has.
yeah, he has.
Yeah, he has.
There's like no focus on him swinging.
The last one was the best, but still, like, show me the suit. Why is it snowing?
I feel like that towards the
Why is it
end,
dark
Toby
out?
is just trying to like,
It's annoying.
he's using it as just, this is how I transport. Andrew's still like, the novelty is still fresh for him. He's flipping, he's, throwing a little tricks in there. Tom's just, he's trying.
Toby's more seasoned though. He had 3 movies. He's,
By the end of the
used to
third,
his
he's just
webs,
like, I just need to get home. This fight took me to fucking the
Yeah.
Outer Banks of Staten Island.
His back is
I need to get back to Queens.
fucking shot. All right, one last question here from Phil. Good question to end the year on. Best single episode of any show this year?
Succession finale.
Succession finale's up there.
Did
I'll
WandaVision
go.
come out this year?
Yes, it did.
What the fuck, man?
Wow. This
I know,
year is
yeah.
a long year.
I hate time.
Quicksilver. Remember that?
Time's a weird thing, man.
We've taken a lot of trips with the multiverse this year. Between Quicksilver and then Loki.
I still don't understand that.
I think they're going to address that. I don't know if it will be in Doctor Strange 2, but I think they're going to bring in the Evan Peters Quicksilver, and it's going to be like, I'm just an alternate version. What was his name?
Boner?
Ralph Boner.
Whatever episode, and
Actually hilarious.
I think it was like
looking back on
episode 5 in Midnight Mass where things really started getting going.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Invincible finale.
Oh, that was this year too, huh? Was the
Oh,
Boys
wow.
wasn't this year?
Mm,
If you say yes, I'll have an existential crisis.
I don't I think The Boys is 2020.
Yes, okay, good.
Invincible's a good one too.
About to have
Damn
a
it.
fucking major meltdown.
It was very near the end of 2020. That's why.
just like I thought.
Yeah, and everyone was like, oh, why isn't season 3 coming out this summer? What
What
the
were the
fuck?
been nominations
season
for
three?
best
Is season three
dramas
coming out
this
next year?
Yeah, it definitely will. It definitely is. Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the shows that I've watched. I mean, Arcane had a lot of good episodes.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
would say the finale of that was good.
I hear Dope Sick's very good.
Yeah, I don't want to watch Dope Sick. That's gonna make me sad.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like pharmaceuticals.
What about like, Robitussin?
What do you guys know about stem cells?
All right, guys, that is a Nerd Soup podcast for this year.
I really want to know though. It's a serious question. There's a reason why I asked it.
All right, guys, that is the Nerd Soup podcast for the year 2021. Thank you for joining us this year, and we will be back next year.
Oh, fuck you.
I mean, I wasn't even trying to be funny. We will, be back next year, 2022. Starting off the year hot, right? Actually, no, all this shit comes out in January and February, so starting off the year with some steaming pile of dog shit. But thank you guys for joining me this year.
It's a good start.
Moonfall comes out in January.
I love Samuel Tarly, but his line in that movie, in that trailer, just
That's the
pisses me off.
greatest sentence anyone
I just
has
wanna
ever said.
Smack him. Like, this movie doesn't deserve
You know,
Sam.
Moonfall was
You
that
don't deserve
trailer.
to be this excited.
That was that trailer when they had like society in the moon, right?
No, it's like the moon.
They're living in a crater or something in the
No,
moon?
the moon's alive. The moon is about to crash into, which I'm pretty sure was a Rick and Morty joke, but
You know, Roland Emmerich liked my tweet.
yeah, well, the account,
Yeah, commented like
Yeah.
this is the energy we like to keep. I like to see. I'm like, thanks, Moonfall. But then Roland Emmerich liked my tweet,
that's pretty cool.
which is cool because he obviously probably knows like that wasn't serious.
You
But he's
probably-
having fun with it.
Right. He's like, let me get in front of this here.
Can he start the snowball with interviews and get some people on here? Can you hit this guy
Wait,
up?
you think the Roland Emmerich interview is going to be the one that tips the scale?
Just to start it, just so we can put on it. I mean,
Celebrity interviews, it's funny how poorly they do. It's like people want to see celebrities in person
Yeah.
at the airport. Oh my God, it's Will Smith. But Will Smith talking about King Richard, people just like,
oh
don't
my
care.
God, I know. No one watches it because
Yeah. Just don't care.
there's no like highlight.
Well, they're also so cliche. They're always so poorly done because
Yeah.
those are like the
Questions suck.
Right.
So what was like Independence Day like?
Yeah, the questions, and it's always like, so you want to be in a superhero movie or you want to direct a superhero movie? They've done like 30 interviews that day.
Mm-hmm.
They get the clickbaity comments. So you saw Tom Holland going after Scorsese. We didn't
Oh.
talk about that.
I love him for that, but I don't agree with him because it's kind of a ridiculous thing to say. But him like saying that, I thought was pretty fun.
Dude, film
Pretty
Twitter's
cool.
been out of control these last few weeks.
Well, it's like weird because I feel like obviously Scorsese is my favorite director, and I don't agree with him fully on what he says about Marvel, but there's some nuance, and if you like really listen to what he's saying and talking about, you'd be like, okay, I see that. And the same thing, I love MCU, and then it's like you kind of have the two sides going against each other. And Tom Holland, I think, is hilarious for sticking his toe in there, because usually, like I said, like you said, people just give the generic politically correct answers, and he was kind of like, yeah, fuck that old bitch.
He said that, or is that like what he said, essentially?
In as many words.
He basically told him that the future is now, old man.
Yeah.
I love it.
To go yell at a cloud. And I just thought that was fucking hilarious, even though I don't necessarily agree with what he says.
Hey, he's stuck up for what he believes in, man. I
think there's a lot of people like...
There's just been so many
even in
takes
film
that
Twitter
I can't
where,
keep
like,
up with it.
I always thought like film Twitter of this thing where it's like, oh, you can like Marvel, you can like Scorsese, I can go watch Licorice Pizza, but also be excited for No Way Home. And it's really like a lot of people look down on a lot of people for liking certain movies and watching certain things.
Well, that's why I wish that film Twitter, some of the gatekeepers on film Twitter, go to Reddit and see how quickly your favorite director that you think is so much better than Marvel is hated by the even more aggressive and gatekeeping cinephiles. Because my cousin...
And some of it was so pretentious, like people like praising this for this movie, like Spider-Man, oh, so much horror, like I've never seen anything like it. And you'd be like, you know, obviously haven't seen this and that.
I know, you haven't seen like, Reservoir Dogs.
And like, and then it's for us for movies, it's like, that's not even that like deep. Like,
right,
come on.
Right, that's my cousin who is, I often disagree with him, but he's someone that I often look to as almost like a mentor when it comes to what movies I should watch, who's worth watching. And he hates Scorsese, hates Spielberg. He's one of those. He's like hardcore, if a movie's not in a foreign language, I don't want anything to do with it. Obviously, he's not like that with everything. Loves PTA.
Oh, not even like old school English.
No, but like he loves, like in terms of modern American directors, he loves Lynch. That's his favorite director. He loves PTA because he's like, I feel like PTA is very misunderstood, like Lynch. So he's one of those. You know, he has the...
There's like, they don't make him like Robert Aldrich anymore.
Yeah, it's...
But he's that for David, like 80s, 90s.
Yeah, people have often... But see, I love the cinephiles. I think that, like John Schnepp, rest in peace to John Schnepp, the ultimate sweaty, great nerd. He was comic book encyclopedia, but he watched all different types of movies. He loved the pretentious movies. He loved the blockbusters. He loved foreign movies. He loved everything. And I find that a lot of cinephiles that I end up gravitating towards are the ones who are open-minded to any sort of movie. You know, but people, you know, with even some of the takes about No Way Home where they're like, oh, it's just, you know, it's just very good entertainment. You know, you can't consider that cinema.
You can't deny it.
But no, they say that to say like, oh, even though it's not cinema, we'll give you that it's very good a piece of entertainment. It's like, dude, you can't gatekeep what cinema is.
But even when you watch some of these older movies, like, there's like some of them are just not like...
Right, they act like shitty movies are a new thing. Like if the majority of all... First of all, that's another thing we need to get out of the way is that the majority of art being created sucks. That's always been the case for every art, for every type of art form. And most of it is fucking shit. So,
well, if you pick like the 10 best movies of the 50s and compare them to like what's coming out this year, then obviously,
I know. We always like, glorify the past. We keep the gems.
It's like, in 20 years, we're not going to be talking about Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. We're going to be talking about the Belfasts and the Licorice Pizzas and like the Dunes, and people can look back like, oh, that was a great year for movies. Well, really, like when you were living in it. It kind of sucked.
Yeah, was it really?
Right. I had to delete my Twitter today just for a few days. I need to reset my mind. Not the app, just the app. Yeah, the app.
That's always a good move.
So I'll be back on Twitter next year. All right, guys. Did it twice in one podcast. 2 Columbine references, 2 dad jokes for the new year. We'll be back. See you. Thanks for listening. Like, share, subscribe. Bye.
Damn, we were making some good points in that video. Hey guys, Aaron the Nerd Suit Monkey here. Before we end this video, I want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon supporters. What can I say about you guys that I haven't already said about myself? You are the most important part of the channel and the main reason we keep going strong. Like Bo says, you keep the lights on in the fridge so the fridge is full. Or something like that. So, from everyone here at Nerd Soup, I'd like to thank you guys for your continued support. If you're interested in joining the ranks of our patron supporters, head over to patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out the rewards we offer to our patrons. We recently dropped some new stickers for you guys to check out, or you could choose a tier that will allow you to select a movie, show, or video game for us to review. We've got a full slate of fan-suggested reviews coming your way, and we're really excited about the chance to review some of those movies and shows. We've also got t-shirts, mugs, behind-the-scenes videos showing how we bring our videos to life. And once again, thank you to all our Patreon pledgers who have been supporting us throughout the years. Without you, we wouldn't be able to convert all your pledges into cryptocurrency, so thank you from my future self for making us rich.